What is this? It's a can of beer. Okay, 2 points. Is this can open or closed? It's empty. No, it will be empty in the very near future. The moment it's open. This is a closed can of beer, yes?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to offer this can of beer, which is cold, to anybody in this audience who, without looking at their phone, can tell me who David Hewlett is. David Hewlett. Poet? No. Anybody know?
The person you
Yeah. Come up here, get your beer. David Hewlett is a Canadian actor. I don't know him personally. Did you ever see the movie Pin? Horror movie from the early 80s? He's in it. He's quite good. Cube. Sci-fi movie? Yeah. People know that one. He's in Cube. He's done a lot of work on Canadian film, Canadian TV. He was in the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Plays the pilot that dooms mankind, among other things. He's a Canadian actor. Yeah, I don't know him personally. I used to. I was in a play with him, oh my God, almost 40 years ago. We were both understudies in a play in Toronto. It was a freaky version of Spring Awakening. Perfectly nice guy. We hung out while the play was on. We saw the movie Brazil together, Terry Gilliam's movie, so it tells you how old I am. Ran out of touch after the show, but I would run into him every so often. I'd see him, at plays, or I would just run into him in the street, and I'd say, "Hey, Dave, how are you?" He'd go, "Mike, how are you?" We would talk about movies for 5 minutes. I'd say, "Nice to see you." We'd walk away. Last time I talked to him, I think, was 1999, where I met him at random at an Orson Welles film in Toronto. Since 1999, and I have not talked to him. I have not received a message from him. I have not had a message from a third party on his behalf sent to me. I haven't reached out to him. I have not run into him in the street. I have no idea what he's doing with his life. So is it safe for me to say that I do not personally know David Hewlett? Yes. You all agree with this? Here's the thing. I think it's perfectly reasonable for me to say I do not know David Hewlett anymore. But I work with a woman who is convinced that I do. Among the other shows he was on Stargate Atlantis. This woman is a Stargate Atlantis freak. I didn't know this until she walked past my desk. I am looking at a bunch of photos that my sister has sent me. She sent me a photo of, it's a newspaper picture of the cast of that weird version of Spring Awakening. And I'm just kind of looking at it thinking, wow, man, I was young. This is ancient, I'm old, et cetera, et cetera. And she wanders by and goes, "Is that you?" I said, "Yeah, no, it was a million years ago. I was in a play." She looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's cool." Walks past, then comes back and says, "Is that David Hewlett?" I go, "Oh, yeah." And she looks at me and she says, quote, "You have a famous friend." I tell her what I've just told you. Nice enough guy, have not talked to him for decades, full stop. And she said, "Oh, well, you were both actors. I mean, actors always talk to each other, don't they? I mean, that's what happens." I love Stargate Atlantis. I love it. I have it. I bought a Blu-ray player so I could buy the Blu-ray set. Do you know how that technology works? Because it's amazing the technology they have in that show. Okay, it's special effects. It's all CGI. I know, but what if it was real? Okay, and I'm kind of smiling weakly. And she said, "So if I brought my Blu-rays in, he'd sign them, right?" But no, yeah, you can get in touch with him, can't you? No, I cannot get in touch with him. But you were both actors. Same thing. Decades ago, I have no idea what he's doing with his life, and she doesn't believe me. I'm trying to convince her of this. And she keeps walking past my desk from time to time saying, hey, have you talked to your buddy Dave recently? No. No, I have not whatsoever. And I'm hoping this wears off. But it didn't. I am a tech writer. It's a very boring job. And she is a consultant. She's some type of planning consultant. I don't really know what she does. I know she really likes Stargate Atlantis. Around 2 weeks ago, we're at a meeting, and it's very boring, and someone has brought donuts, and somebody's brought coffee, and somebody pushes something in front of me at the table, and it is a box set of Stargate Atlantis and a FedEx return envelope and a pen. And to this entire meeting of around 15 people, she said, I just want everyone to know that we kind of have a celebrity here because Michael knows Dave Hewlett, who was on Stargate Atlantis, and he's going to get me this signed. I think she's nuts. I mean, very pleasantly, she's a nice woman, but I think she's kind of crazy. And I what am I going to do? I want her to shut up. Eventually, I said something that I shouldn't have said. I said, you know what? He's probably on Twitter and Facebook. I mean, just like tweet him. Maybe you could talk to him or something like that. I didn't mean that. What I meant was, he's on Twitter, follow him. But I was dumb enough to say, you can talk to him. So around 3 days later, she wanders up to my desk, and she looks delighted. And she said, I just want you to know that I've gotten in touch with Dave through Facebook, and he says hi, and it's great. He's telling me all about the show. I am mortified. Like, I haven't spoken to this gentleman for decades. And now he thinks that I'm sending people to get his autograph, and I'm kind of horrified, and I do have an out. I lied to her a little, very little bit. I actually could get in touch with him if I wanted to. When I worked in software, I worked with a guy named Bill. Bill was, I think, a neighbor or lived on the same street with Dave. And they would have barbecues and stuff like this. All I know about is that he mentioned that once, and I said, oh yeah, I was in a play with him, nice guy. So I realized I could get in touch if I talked to Bill. And I don't want to do this, but I call Bill and I say, listen, the next time you talk to Dave, can you apologize on my behalf? Because this crazy woman tracked him down on Facebook, and God knows what she's saying to him, and I did not send her to him, and I'm mortified. Just please tell him I'm very, very sorry. Bill laughs. He goes, oh, yeah, okay, fine, I'll tell him. And 2 days later, he calls me back, and he goes, okay, two things. Firstly, I talked to Dave. He laughed his head off and said, don't worry about it. He doesn't think you're that kind of guy. And secondly, she never reached him. I mean, he is on Facebook, but he uses a different name. Okay. This is kind of weird. So I went on Facebook. Do you know how many people identify themselves as Dave Hewlett on Facebook? Around 14. Do you know how many people identify themselves as specifically his character, with the photo on the profile on Facebook? Around 5. So she is talking to an imposter who is claiming to be Dave Hewlett, who, by the way, I don't know anymore. And I can't tell her this. Like, I know this. I can't tell her, because if I tell her, she's going to know that I can actually reach him if I have to. So here's what I've done. I'm trying blackmail. The last time she wandered by my desk gleefully saying, oh, I talked to David all about Stargate Atlantis again, and he told me about how they were designing the sets, and I said, yeah, I've got a really funny story about him, but it's kind of embarrassing. Can you do me a favor? We're supposed to have a reunion party from that play we were in. Yeah, he owes me $400 for that play, and you tell him if he doesn't send me the $400 through an email transfer, I'm going to tell his embarrassing secret to you. There has been no response yet. However, I just want to tell everybody here, if this works out the way I want it to, and if I blackmailed this imposter into giving me $400, the next event, I'm not only going to give away one beer, I'm going to give away a beer to everybody who attends. Thank you very much for your time.